Good afternoon or good evening. I'm Audrey Wiggins, and welcome to another webisode of Make Something Happen. I'm excited to bring to you today Miss Linda Peavy from Consulting. She's bringing a wealth of knowledge and training and experience with us, from fund development to event planning, publishing, as a literary agent, a grant writer, and some other things she's going to share with us as an overall encompasses marketing, and I'm excited to hear more about that and share that with you. Linda, you want to give us a little background on yourself?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Again, I'm Linda Peavy, and I am the owner of Consulting. I founded in 2008. I am a native Clevelander, born and raised.
All right.
I spent several years in Pennsylvania, but I moved back home in 2006, and I've been here ever since. Consulting does include a number of different areas, but we particularly focus on grant writing,
Okay.
and marketing. I do serve as a literary agent as well. I spent 16 years as director of marketing and as an associate publisher in the professional publishing world.
Okay.
So I took that wealth of experience, and when I left the last publishing house, I started a literary agency. So I do serve authors all across the country, and the purpose of being an agent is to represent that author to professional publishers.
Okay.
So I read manuscripts, and my job is to provide a contract at the end of the day for that author to a professional publishing house.
Okay, so that helps to protect them, and what else would that do for them? That is an individual.
It does help to protect them, but now, because there are so many people who are writing books, and within a publishing house, they have limited staff. They cannot read every manuscript that comes their way. So most professional publishing houses now are requiring that an author be represented by a literary agent, because they know that the agent has taken the time to read the manuscript and made sure that there is a great fit between the manuscript and that publishing house.
Okay.
So that's my role, is to represent the author, to make sure that when I read the manuscript, I choose a publishing house that's a good fit for the resource.
And that sounds very important then too, because we'll go out there and go through the internet and look at a list of publishers. Okay, I like that name or that area. We really kind of choose blindly. And this way you bring your experience, when you find out what type of person I am and what I'm writing about, then you can match that up. I like that good fit part.
And your area and your audience and who you're speaking to, again, having worked with professional publishers for so long and having been an associate publisher, I've seen many, many manuscripts.
Yes.
So I have quite a few connections and relationships within the publishing world. So it is important to have that fit, especially when it comes to your audience, because you don't want to submit a book on baseball to a publishing house that specializes in cookbooks. There has to be a really great fit there.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, tell us more about the marketing area.
The marketing,
Consulting.
I was director of marketing for 16 years in professional publishing, but in terms of creating the strategies, I created and implemented strategies. I wrote promotional campaigns. I also traveled to Europe every year because I bought and sold foreign rights. So part of my job was to make sure that if there was an organization or another publisher, whether it be in China or Japan or Germany, who perhaps wanted to translate the English language version over to their particular language, it was my job to sell them the rights. So I had the opportunity to travel every year to buy and sell foreign rights. And in a role reversal, we were also looking for books that we could translate into English.
Okay, that's exciting then.
It is. It was a great opportunity, certainly to be able to work in the global market.
Yes.
And in the marketing, what I'm doing now is I'm helping organizations and authors and companies to create and develop marketing plans. And I also do a lot of branding when it comes, especially in working with authors.
Okay. All right. I want to hear more about that when we come back on the other side of this message.
Sure.
Okay, Linda, thank you. with Linda Peavy, and before we took our break, we alluded to a little bit of international work that you've done and the marketing strategies of working with organizations and individuals with regards to authors, being an author. Speaking of that now, with technology and with just the fact that we have a website kind of makes us a global organization right off the bat, whether we choose that or not. And what are some of the areas that you, the consultant, they help an author or a business in that international arena?
Well, in terms of the internet and the World Wide Web, you're right. The access is unlimited in terms of who your market can be. So
Yes.
what I help organizations and authors do is take a look at how they can broaden their market.
Okay.
If it's an author in Cleveland, there's no reason why you can't have an audience in California or
Yes.
Washington State. So I have to create marketing plans that are broad-based, not
Okay.
just locally, but nationally. In terms of creating the marketing plan, I look at newspapers. Newspaper reviews are very important.
Okay.
In terms of having them develop a website, I do website development and I hire designers to create websites. So again, the access is available across the country. But in addition to that, I help them with social marketing, social media marketing. You still have authors and organizations that don't fully understand the capacity that is available in working through social media. So I help them with Facebook, with LinkedIn, with Twitter, with creating really a national presence via the web, but really taking advantage of the various social media tools that are out there and available. And with Facebook, I do a lot of marketing on Facebook. That's a great opportunity, not just to send out messages to your Facebook friends, but they have wonderful marketing tools on Facebook as well.
Yeah, and that area to me is so key. This I notice when I'm speaking sometimes with other business owners, and some of them still aren't utilizing or taking advantage of the internet. Some they look at Facebook, and some of the others is just a social entity. And though the word is out there, social media, but it's still media.
It is
that is so key, and it helps to me. Some like the web 2.0 conference and things I was we review and look back. And one thing that one of the speakers had mentioned with regard to that is being more transparent. The CEO of today, the business owner of today, is someone that's to be a little more transparent. No more are we, stuck up in the high rise and the top floor of some big, marble corporate, entity. We're out there, we're bearing it all.
Absolutely. And I work especially with pastors in particular who may not be as accustomed to social media tools as some of my other clients. But in terms of being accessible in that level of transparency, the social media outlets are an excellent tool for pastors to be able to connect on a much more closer basis with their church members. And utilizing Facebook and being able to send out messages on a regular basis, but being able to respond to questions or inquiries that they may receive from their church members. It's an excellent tool to help pastors in particular.
Yes, absolutely. And as far as your authors, I know I've run across several people promoting their books on Facebook and the importance of what people commenting, because the outside world is looking in. And you just never know who the agents or the different houses were scanned, looking for new talent, if you will. And I do have an associate, a friend of mine, who's just published a book, and he's gonna come on a little later. He's gonna ask questions and make some comments about that. His name is Dexter Brady. His book is just out in Love in 160 Characters. Very talented young man. So we're gonna take a quick break, and I'm gonna grab him, and we're gonna bring him on audibly. Okay.
Hi, I'm Cyrus D. Adams with TempLabor.org. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoy the things you see. We recommend and represent quality people looking for employment. We offer consultation, and we're dedicated to the reemployment of Americans and the building of unity and people working together, fulfilling their dreams and doing the right thing. Contact us, 216-355-7069. That's TempLabor.org. I hope that we can help you in the future. Thank you.
Did you know that your opinion matters? Did you know that your vote really counts? Well, it does, at least as soon as you apply this right. But what's a right anyway if you never use it? It's yours and nobody can take it from you, right? Wrong. By not having what you need in order to vote, you allow this right to be taken away, which is un-American, unjust, and unfair. Take a stand. Go to www.project5millionvoterid.com. Place your mark in the history today.
We're here with Linda Peavy, and after the break, we have a caller on. His name is Dexter Brady. He's a new author. He's an awesome poet, and we want to share him with you and our audience today. And Dexter, if you could just speak to some of the challenges, some of the positive aspects of being a publisher, an author, excuse me, what you've gone through.
Yes, first, it's a pleasure for me to be here, and hello to everyone. The name of my book is 480 Votes of Xavier, and my new book is called Love and 160 Characters or Less. Both are books of poetry. The challenges for me being a publisher, transitioning from author to publisher, were first figuring out the logistics of how to actually publish a book from A to Z. There's knowing what the first step is, and then going through the whole process. The second process was deciding if I wanted who was going to fulfill my book orders. And what I mean by that is, was I going to set up a website like dexterbrady.com, and when people ordered my book, that I would fulfill my book orders, or would I go with, print on demand, which is when people order the book, it's only printed when they order it, or, use Amazon.com. So that's another challenge that the author has to, weigh the options of who's going to be, how many middlemen they want, or how many ways they want to distribute their book out, because there's a creative side to write the book and a business side to write the book.
Right.
So that was like the first challenge I had to do, was go through the whole process creatively, and then go through the whole process as far as the business side is concerned. And once they come together, you will duplicate the process, and you will become more efficient as time goes along.
Okay, Linda's here. I know you haven't had the opportunity to hear the entire interview, but she brings marketing and also she's a literary agent. And if you would have to have somebody like that to work with you, what differences or the impact you think that would have on you? I want you to talk directly to Linda, so she can you guys can dialogue back and forth.
Oh, nice to meet you, Linda. My thing with me being a self-publisher and then working with a literary agent, for me, that would be a blessing for me, because she could hopefully help negotiate for me to get picked up by a major publisher. And then that would also help me get more marketing and more distribution in that sense.
Yes.
So I would love to work with a literary agent, but they told me when I started writing poetry that poetry is like the hardest genre to push for the market of all the genres of literature. They said poetry is the hardest one to market, but that still didn't stop me from doing what I love to do. But
And it should, let me just step in.
Awesome. Go ahead, Linda.
Let me just step in for a second. He is correct. Poetry is very, very difficult to place, and one of the major differences between being self-published rather than going through a literary agent and going through a professional publishing house is the marketing and the distribution and the financial aspects of it. When you go to a professional publisher, they're paying to have the book printed, they're paying to have the book marketed, they're paying for distribution. The book can be distributed anywhere from Cleveland to Hong Kong when you go through a professional publishing house. But I do work with some self-published authors, and the one thing I try to stress for them is that they have to be able to understand marketing, because it's left up to them. They don't have a publishing house who can assist them in the marketing effort. So I try to help them with different ways of publicizing the book, different ways of marketing the book. Again, taking definitely advantage of the social media, but also developing ways to speak about your book, to have different speaking engagements, utilizing your friends and your families, and researching organizations to see where you can put yourself out there and promote yourself, and at the same time you're promoting the book.
Absolutely. That's awesome. And Dexter, I know you utilized social media a lot. And also, before we go on to our next segment, would you give us your website and where we can publish your book, and any last comments that you would like to make?
hear me right now?
Yes, yes. The title of your book again.
Yes, my books are on DexterBrady.com.
Okay.
And you can friend request me on Facebook at Dexter Brady III on Facebook.
All right.
Another thing I want to interject real quick is the difference, I guess, between what my fear was transitioning from being a self-publisher to a major publishing house to a literary agent is me losing control over my body of work. I want to still have the creative control, and for them not to step in and look at my book that's already published and say, well, we don't like, poem number 6, poem number 7, poem number 10. I didn't want that kind of, because they're putting the money behind it. So I thought they would have more control over what I was writing and what I was publishing. So me to retain control over my project, I just decided to just self-publish and just kind of go from there. And if I was able to cross over through a literary agent, then hopefully she would be able to help negotiate me to, continue just to write the way that I write. They would not kind of mess with it too much.
That's a great point.
That's another thing when you publish yourself, when you go through someone else.
And just to make a comment about that, because I've been in professional publishing for many years now, over 16 years now, and authors have to understand that when you go through a professional publishing house, they are financially paying to have that book marketed and distributed, but at the same time, it is a partnership. The publishing house will not want to publish a book that the author is not happy with, but you do have a professional editorial staff when you go through a professional publisher, and their job is to make that book as good as it can possibly be, and that does entail editing. They do not want to change the aspects of what they're given because the talent is through the author.
Right.
But the purpose is to make sure that the product that they're putting out to the public is one that is going to represent the author in the best way possible while also representing the publishing house.
Okay, great. All right, well, Dexter, we want to thank you for being a part of our call today, and hopefully that you've learned some things and got some more insight, and that the rest of our viewers as well. And we do look forward to helping you to promote that book and get your website up on the screen here, so people can can get your book and your Facebook page. So thanks again, Dexter.
Thank you,
All right,
Dexter.
thanks for having me. Nice meeting you, Linda.
Nice meeting you too. Good luck.
All right. Bye.
Hello, it's Audrey Wiggins of Make Something Happen, and I'm coming to you today on behalf of North Coast Minority Media. They're all excited and gearing up for their annual event, the Diversity Business Health and Careers Expo and Diversity Celebration Gala. It'll all be happening on Friday, May 11th, 2012 at the Lorain County Community College Spitzer Conference Center, held in Elyria, Ohio. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. You can be a sponsor. You can have a vendor booth. There's going to be all kinds of activities going on, as well as health screenings, business-to-business speed networking. There's going to be job interview networking. So there'll be a job fair, a fashion show. There are going to be door prizes and gifts to be given away. There's going to be a luncheon and, again, the dinner in the evening. So please, click in, look at the website there below, click in, plug in, and we'll be seeing you on May 11th at the Diversity Business Health and Careers Expo, sponsored by North Coast Minority Media and Lorain National Bank, Lorain County Community College, Cleveland Clinic, the National Diversity Council, and we're back with Linda Peavy, and we just had a great conversation with Dexter Brady. So remember, please to plug in and check his book out. It's very talented young man out of Texas there. All right, Miss Peavy, we're back with you again. Anything else you want to close up with that literary piece, and then we'll move on to grant writing?
Yes, I do help out quite a bit of pastors in the area. One of my latest clients is Reverend Paul Sadler.
Oh, yes.
The pastor of Mount Zion.
Dr. Sadler.
UCC, exactly, Congregational Church University Circle, and his new book is 52 Ways to Ignite Your Congregation Worship.
Okay.
So I'm working with him to help promote the book, and we are currently organizing a worship workshop at his church on April 28th from 8:30 until noon, and hopefully our viewers will join us. It's going to be a fantastic workshop that will really help churches that are either stagnant in their growth or just need revitalization in their worship. It'll be an awesome time, and they can go to the website www.paulhobsonsadler.com for more information and to get tickets.
All right, we'll get that information up on the screen. Great, thanks for sharing that information with us. Okay, we're going to slide into grant writing. What's your experience, and just enlighten our audience here and the importance of that and having a business, even currently and
The grant writing, I serve as a consultant for
Mhm.
foundations. So
Okay.
part of it is to assist foundations to make sure that their grant making process
Mhm.
is streamlined and that they're in compliance with the wishes of the uh, families who provide the endowments. So that's
Okay.
one aspect of working in grants, but I've been spending a lot of my time lately writing grants. I'm a professional grant writer,
Okay.
and I want to stress the importance of hiring a professional grant writer to the requests for proposals that are generated by foundations and organizations. It is a skill that needs to be developed, and it's very important to make sure you have someone on board who is accustomed
Okay.
to writing grants and to making sure that those relationships are developed between the applicant and the foundation. Part of what I do is not just write grants, but I set up meetings between the applicant and the foundation or the bank or the organization to make sure that relationship has been established
Okay.
before I even begin the grant writing process. But I do write grants that are provided through banks, through foundations. I write government grants,
Okay.
state and local grants, and I work very closely, predominantly with faith-based organizations,
Mhm.
to make sure that they are, one, aware of the grants that are available.
Okay.
And there are more and more grants now available to faith-based organizations, including churches. So I work very closely with them to make sure they are aware of the different requests for proposals that are available, but also to be proactive
Okay.
and making sure that they're connected with the agencies and the organizations that do offer grants.
That's awesome. So what effect has this economy, say, in the last 5 years or so, has had on the amount of grants being awarded or the amount of applications, the amount of proposals that have been
Well,
submitted?
there's definitely a decline
Mhm.
because as the economy goes, so would the endowments. Some of the endowments certainly fell through some of the foundations. So you do have less money available, but you do still have money available, and that's the one thing I want to stress. The money
Okay.
is available. There are still grants available.
Mhm.
They're provided again through federal government, through local and state governments, but especially through the private and public foundations. They
Okay.
are available. It's great to be able to do research. The Foundation Center is one, great website to go on to make sure that, you're addressing or you're approaching the appropriate foundation
Absolutely, yes.
to receive funding, because that's critical too. You want to make sure that the foundation supports the different areas for which your organization operates.
Okay.
So definitely there are grants available.
Mhm.
That's part of what I do. I spend a lot of time in making sure that my organizations and my clients are aware of the grants, and then I do quite a bit of research for the grant proposal to make sure that the best proposal is submitted to the foundation or the organization.
Okay. And what would be, say, like the smallest grant up to the largest, awarded?
Well, there are numerous grants available. You can get a grant for $500.
Okay.
Most of the government grants that I write are multi-million-dollar grants.
Okay.
Anytime you're requesting a grant from the federal government, and I work closely with the Department of Labor
Okay.
and the Department of Justice. So those are typically your higher level grants.
Mhm.
In terms of the community foundations, like the Cleveland Foundation or the Gun Foundation,
Yes.
they can expend as low as $5,000 up to millions of dollars on an organization. So again, it's best to do your research
Okay.
and make sure that your grant request is appropriate, given your budget and your needs, but also making sure that that organization is going to be able to provide the kind of funding that you're looking for. And the grant amounts range accordingly, but
Yeah.
also the types of grants.
Okay.
There are grants that support operationals.
Mhm.
There are grants that support emergency need. There are grants that support in terms of salaries that are needed to make sure your executive director
Okay.
maintains in the organization. So the types of grants vary, as well as the various dollar amounts.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. I know we were talking about faith-based, but basically we're talking about not-for-profits and 501c3 organizations. So a corporation or an LLC, depending on the size of the business, are there grants available for-profit organizations?
There are grants available for for-profits, but that's very, very difficult to find. And I speak with many nonprofit organizations, and certainly, as you mentioned, they have a 501c3.
Yes.
That road is a little bit easier. When it comes to companies and
Mhm.
corporations and LLCs, they are available. It's best to take a look at organizations that are similar to their kind of company to see
Okay.
if there's funding available. Typically, for many foundations, they're only looking for nonprofit organizations. But I'm working with an organization now, a credit union, and they're seeking additional grant monies from other foundations that assist credit unions. So it's best to do your research
Okay.
and look for organizations that's willing to fund you, even though you may not be a nonprofit organization. It is available, but oftentimes, if you are a corporation, an LLC, you're looking for seed money. It's best to get investors. It's best to try to raise monies, to seek funders who are interested in investing in your organization. It's going to be much more difficult if you're a for-profit to seek grant money.
Okay, that's great. Thanks a lot for information. We're going to come right back on the other side of this message. We're back with Linda Peavy. Thank you once again. Friends, as we come to a close, begin to wrap up, I always like to ask that impact question, kind of flip side. If funding, say, looking at your literary agent experience and the grant writing, those seem to be the most pertinent, areas that you're working in, other, the strategic marketing and planning. What would a business look like if they didn't have those things, those types of services available? What do you think? What type of impact that would?
I don't think
have?
they would be around for very long, because marketing is going to be key for the long term and the short term success of any organization, of any business. You need to be able to make sure that you have people on board who can make sure that your company is known, whether it's a publicist or a marketing person or a business development individual. Make sure that you have a professional on board so that not only you know about what you're doing, but you can be able to get that word out to a much broader audience. In terms of a professional grant writer, it is key. Not everyone can write grants. I can't stress that enough. It is a skill.
Yes.
And it's important to know that you have someone on board who understands the industry and who can help you forge those important relationships that are really key to grant writing. Right now, I am working with a client at the Well Conferences, Inc., and we are working to put on a leadership academy at Princeton University.
Okay.
And in that capacity, I help to develop funds, so I'm seeking sponsorships and funders for that academy at Princeton. But at the same time, I'm helping to market the academy and the leadership academy. We focus on girls in the 10th, 11th, and 12th grades who are from underrepresented communities, and we're hoping to send them to the academy this summer and to the conference. So
Awesome.
in that capacity, I wear two different hats. But again, it is important to be able to have someone on board who can just send your message out there in a number of different ways.
Well, you concentrate on that creative, that work, whatever the actual issue or subject is.
Right. It allows you to focus on managing the organization while you have someone else sending out the messages and making sure that you're known in many different avenues.
Okay, and closing up with the literary agent piece.
With the literary agent, it's going to be key if you want to be professionally published, because again, there are so many authors now who have resources, and there are fewer and fewer publishing houses, they don't have the staff to be able to sort through all of the manuscripts. Unfortunately, many of them are absolutely requiring that you have a literary agent. So it's best to seek out a person who knows the industry, who knows your book, and who can connect you to the right publisher to make sure that your resource is going to be published and distributed in the best way possible.
Absolutely. And how can we get in touch with you to utilize your services?
You can go to my website at LaPav Consulting. It's www.lapav.com. A list of my services are there, and you can contact me through the website. You can also call me. My contact information is on there, or you can email me at lapav, LIPAV.com.
Okay, awesome. I want to thank you again for being with us, and my viewers, let's go out and make something happen. If you have a business, if you're an author, you're coming up with a creative work, or you need some grants, let's remember to hire someone on the outside to help make that easier while you concentrate on creating the best piece possible. All right, until then, we'll take care and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.